Good evening, or good morning, good noon, or good midnight, whenever and wherever you're watching this. Welcome to Helldünkel. My name is Pete from @iReadBooks on YouTube, and I'm honored to be among all of these amazing creators Jesse assembled, who are all part of this multi-channel Halloween showcase here on Happy the Knife. And I'll read a wonderful and wonderfully creepy, somber Halloween poem by the master himself, Edgar Allan Poe. Here is Spirits of the Dead. Thy soul shall find itself alone mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. The night, though clear, shall frown, and the stars shall look not down from their high thrones in the heaven, with light like hope to mortals given. But their red orbs, without beam, to thy weariness shall seem as a burning and a fever which would cling to thee forever. Now our thoughts thou shalt not banish, now our visions ne'er to vanish. From thy spirit shall they pass no more, like dewdrop from the grass. The breeze, the breath of God, is still, and the mist upon the hill, shadowy, shadowy yet unbroken, is a symbol and a token. How it hangs upon the trees, a mystery of mysteries.
Hello and welcome to How Horrific. I'm your host, Jen, and this is my co-host, a salty slice of white toast. What's wrong, Salty?
Well, of all the things I've tried to pull off with putting this show together, the thing that I thought would be easiest would be the cosplay contest. Just submit your TikToks and ask your followers to vote for you. That's it. I'll do the rest.
That does sound easy.
Right? People just didn't do it. Even people that said they wanted to do it, they didn't send me their videos and they didn't reply to my messages.
Some did though, right?
You know Shido, Luxury Tears, Horror Cosplay Flytie, and Jackson. So I have 4 cosplayers for my cosplay contest. That's supposed to go throughout the whole series. And you know Shido and Luxury Tears from the first week? Dead tie in the comments. 3 votes for each one. And I did not anticipate any ties. Wasn't part of the play-up.
I know what we can do.
What are you thinking?
Let's show extra appreciation to the people that did show up and hope more join us next time.
Jen, you're so smart. We'll just start the whole thing over again. And we'll have Yunoshido, Luxury Tears, Horror Cosplay, Flytie, and Jackson submit a video for each of the next 3 episodes. We'll tally up all of the votes from those 3 episodes, not including the first week. We'll have to cut those 6. You'll have to vote again, just to be fair. And because those 4 will be competing in the entirety of the contest, let's add $200 for second place, $100 for third place, and $50 for fourth. That way none of them go home empty-handed, right?
What if there's a tie?
If there's a tie? Oh, God. If there's a tie, then the 2 that tied will combine the winnings from those 2 places. So second and third, if they tie, we'll just combine the 200 and 100 and they'll split it 150 each. Is that fair? Is that fair? We'll figure it out.
Let's meet our cosplayers. Horror Cosplay Flytie at horrorcosplay_flytie.
Yeah.
Jackson at that one Carmela. Yunoshido at Yunoshido.
Why don't you get it? Can't you get it? Understand? We're gonna execute the mother to elevate the man.
Luxury Tears at Lux.Tears.
Oh no. Do you smell that? They're coming. Be gone, thoughts. Go away. I'm a man of God.
Cast your votes in the comments, and remember, if you voted last week for Luxury Tears of Yunoshido, to vote again. And we'll bring all those guys back next week with new videos. And we get to see even more of all 4 of them, which is going to be awesome.
Do you feel any better?
A little bit.
Do you know what else might make you feel better?
What?
Let's rage interdimensionally.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, I do feel better. Thanks, Jen. Jen, how would you describe this show?
A horror-themed anthology of content creators, the Helldünkel version of VHS.
Man, the 7th VHS just came out on Shudder. I haven't even seen all of the first 6 yet. There's 7 of them.
You should ask Jackknives reviews about them. He just watched all 6 and is releasing videos about the best and worst segments.
Jackknife's Reviews is covering the best and worst segments from the first 6 VHS movies? What a coincidence. Let's check that out.
All throughout the month of October, I'm going to be doing reviews of things that are either involving the horrors of the flesh or the horrors of the soul, or it could even be a combination of the two. And before I start that, I first want to go into my annual top list. But this year, I have 2, all from the same franchise. Before I get into the list, I want you to think back in a time that many of you may not even have been alive. That feeling of going through a video store, the feeling of seeing the imagery, or if you didn't see the imagery, just imagining what was there. And sometimes you can even see them in the retro shop. You would see something like this. This year's annual list, I'm going to be doing a 2-parter of the VHS franchise, from worst to best. This one will be part 1 of 2, because before we get to the best, we gotta go through the worst. As per all of my top lists, there's certain criteria that I always adhere to. Number 1, each VHS franchise only gets 1 per entry, as in there are 6 movies to date, with a 7th on the way, so there will only be 6 entries for the worst and 6 entries for the best, to determine which are the worst and which are the best. I rank them off of what is the actual worst segments, not necessarily the quality or the time in which they were made. And number 2, I will not be counting the wraparound segments or the beginning of the segments that entangle them all together. I don't consider those a segment or story, even if they have a flowing story. Those are more to just get the audience hooked and to essentially be the gatekeeper of the stories. So with that in mind, these are the 6 worst segments of the VHS franchise.
Clinical Trial from VHS 2.
VHS 2 is arguably considered by many that love the franchise like myself as the best of the entire franchise thus far. And this, unfortunately, is the black sheep of that film. And being directed by Adam Wingard, who made The Guest, You're Next, Blair Witch, and the new Godzilla vs. Kong movies, there is obviously some great filmmaking here. There's great visuals, there's great ideas, it's just maybe a little too sci-fi-y. Cochlear implants and weird possessions. It's a little bland. It's not bad. The fact that it's all in a POV setting is great. Not that they don't do later sci-fi better in the franchise, but this one was just kind of eh. And because of that, it gets to the bottom of the worst. As in, it's tolerable, so it gets a pass.
The Empty Wake from VHS 94.
Simon Barrett directed this, and he's primarily known for being a writer and producer, and because of that, he doesn't really know what he's doing behind the camera, and it goes to show. Primarily, most of his stuff is known with working with Adam Wingard, so it's more of Adam Wingard being in charge, and considering he was on the last number, I mean, he's got potential. There's a lot of things in here that I do enjoy. For instance, the setup, the build-up, the anticipation, and it kind of just keeps that pace. It just stays at a steady pace, which I'm just kind of like, okay. Also, the creature in the thing was just boring. Interesting looking, visually fantastic, but just boring. And I was kind of expecting a little more. It was not really doing it for me.
The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger, from VHS.
I don't know why Simon Barrett keeps appearing on this list, but he's also a longtime collaborator with Joe Swanberg, the one who directed this, and it gave me Unfriended vibes, for better or for worse. I didn't really care for that movie, and I certainly didn't care for this segment. Sure, the concept is interesting, but it feels like one that could not be past the infancy stage. It is clearly designed to be a short segment, and I would like it if it could have done more, beside the fact that the main woman is carrying the entire weight of this segment. She's not bad, but she's not great at acting either. But the guy is so bland. And yes, I'm aware that it's intentional, but it still doesn't negate the fact that the guy could have at least put a little more emphasis and a little more, whoa! It took away from the reality of the situation. And I know the twist at the end, which it's bad. It's a stupid twist. Not as stupid as other twists, but this one did, when I first saw the first VHS movie, really pissed me off. I was really infuriated because I'm like, it might as well have been the "it was all a dream" stereotype that constantly renegates all storytelling. It was similar to that, but if you're a screenwriter, you know the other trope that it probably is. It is that. Take that as you will. Could have been salvaged? Probably. Hey everyone, this is a condensed version of my list, in collaboration with Happy the Knife, no relation, over at his channel, celebrating Helldünkel. Go ahead and check out his channel, link in the description. And happy Helldünkel!
I love Jack's radio voice.
He does have a great radio voice, doesn't he? I also love his hypothetical series. It's the whole reason I'm going to re-watch The Fisher King.
I hope he'll give us a sneak peek of the best VHS segments next week.
I think that he might. Till then, though, you'll just have to go over to Jack Knife's reviews and subscribe and catch up on his other videos.
So how have things been with Margaret?
She's been okay. I haven't been able to use my bathroom for a week. And you weren't kidding about the don't give them anything or they'll want it from you all month thing. Because I can't go anywhere near my kitchen without her leading out into the hallway.
Do you want more treats? Yeah? Well, get in there. I will get you something. But you gotta go on. God.
I still haven't been able to sleep, though. I've been having the weirdest dreams.
About what?
Well, every time I go to sleep, instead of dreaming, it's like I'm watching one of those old black and white TV shows. But the host is a haunted doll.
Oh no. Is his name Charlie Cedarwood?
Yes.
You know, it's not easy being a haunted doll in 2024. You think with all this talk of retro and vintage, people would appreciate an antique like me. No. They treat me like I'm a bundle of tangled Christmas bulbs, discarded bowling trophies, or your grandfather's highly specific black and white Dust Bowl era porn stick. Now they just look at me and say, ugh, creepy, as they proceed to shove me back into the attic to hide me away as quick as possible. The attic. Believe that? I'm just your everyday, average, evil soul inhabiting an old, creepy 1930s Charlie McCarthy doll, trying to live his best life. Nothing weird about that. Nothing at all. don't get me started on these dating apps. They say, be yourself. But when I showed up for my date, she said I was a little too lifeless. I admit, I can be a little stiff from time to time, but lifeless? That one hurt a little. So I tried getting a makeover and hitting the town the old-fashioned way. Picture this. Thrifted pants with Starbucks coffee stains, an overly curly broccoli cut, and an oversized t-shirt that says, Charlie is brown. So I would have you know, this young gentleman I met the other day, named J.D. Vance, said I wasn't weird, and he seemed like a totally normal human person. It's a tough world out here, but you know what? I'm not going to let it get me down. I've got spirit. So, whether I go viral and become YouTube famous like the amazing lyrical genius of Chocolate Rain, or spend another 100 years in an old dirty trunk like the skeleton of one of your great-grandma's lost cats, I do know one thing, that they'll come around. They always do. Everyone loves a classic. Well, that's it for today. If you liked this video, hit that subscribe button and smash that like, and please share.
And where you see clouds upon the hills, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for his song. Whenever April showers come
How do you know about the Charlie Cedarwood show?
Dreaming of the Charlie Cedarwood show usually means he's in your attic. He must have got in when your door was open. He'll be using your dreams to do his show all month.
Man, Helldünkel is my favorite season for sleeping. I was just thinking about that the other day when I was watching the horror film Alien.
So on my channel, I usually make fun of highly rated horror films, and people have told me that I should make videos where I recommend movies instead of just tearing them apart. So for my new series, I'm going to cover the greatest horror films ever to fall asleep to. So the first movie in this series is the 1979 sci-fi horror film Alien. Alien has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It's 1 hour and 57 minutes, a perfect length of time for a sleeping movie. It starts with a 2-minute credit sequence on a dark screen with a calming, meditative soundscape. And after that, they put text on the screen, which for me is wonderful because reading makes me tired. So now we're 4 minutes into the movie, and if you're still awake, you might hear that the ship has received a slightly jarring fax. 5 minutes in, we see people for the first time. They're all asleep. 6 minutes into the movie, we hear a person talk for the first time. It's just small talk, and it has that old 70s movie sound to it. It's perfect for sleeping.
Here's some cornbread.
A computer starts to beep gently, and we're informed that the computer's name is Mother.
No, Mother wants to talk to you.
So we're literally in Mother's care. There's more wonderfully quiet scenes with soft lighting. It's reminiscent of falling asleep on a long flight. The ship captain starts to talk a little loud.
I want to go home and party. Parker, will you just listen to the man?
He's immediately corrected as the other actor shoots him a look and then begins speaking softly all the way down to a whisper.
On penalty of total forfeiture of shares. Money.
Things start to go a little wrong.
There's going to be a little bump.
There are some alarms and explosions, but even they are subdued and short-lived. If you're already asleep, which you probably are, they may cause you to move your head slightly.
Is that it?
We are then treated to wonderful white noise and stormy wind sounds. Just perfection. There's a lot of distorted dialogue that takes place over radio transmissions. It's very nice. Even the computer sounds are so chill that the movie manifests a cat. We are truly in heaven. There are serene, dark silences, only interrupted by what sounds like the breathing of somebody else sleeping. They make a very disturbing find.
Alien life form. Looks like it's been dead a long time.
But don't worry, we're still chill.
Let's get the hell out of here.
They begin to explore a nice, dark, warm cave.
Cave of some sort, but I don't know, but it's like the goddamn tropics in here.
30 minutes into the movie, they do find an alien. Prepare yourself, because it does attack. It does return to silence. So, if it does wake you, you'll probably be asleep again before you even know why. A very intense dispute takes place about whether or not they should allow an alien life form onto the ship. But don't worry, because it's a very gentle intensity.
What happened to Kane?
Something has attached itself to him. We have to get him to the infirmary right away.
Wait a minute. If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedures.
We have to get him inside.
No.
They try to cut the alien off, and it bleeds acid blood, which begins to burn a hole through the ship. But it's okay.
Looks like it's stopping.
We get to look through a microscope and listen to some whispering for a little bit.
That's amazing. What is it?
There's a bit of a dispute. They don't want to wake you.
Please don't do it. Thank you.
Sorry.
We are treated to some classical music. Pure serenity. Now, after several moments of near perfect silence, there is a crash. The actor does apologize. There is what seems to be another alien attack, but don't worry, it's also just asleep. The guy who was originally attacked by the face-hugging alien, he's fine, they're all fine, and they're gonna go home.
Right here.
We're on our way home.
Yeah, back to the old freezerinos.
Unfortunately, they didn't run another X-ray on him to make sure there wasn't still something inside of him, which there is. Now I know you're thinking, the next scene, an alien is going to burst out of this guy's chest. Surely that can't be good to sleep to. It's over as quickly as it began. We return to dreamland and nobody wanting to talk. Everybody just chill. They're going to quickly catch it with a net. They have nets on this spaceship in the future, and that's what they're going to use to collect this alien life form that has acid blood and they don't know anything about. So we're very chill still. So they go to catch this alien because they think they hear it But it turns out it's just the cat. The cat runs off, so obviously we need to put the alien hunt on hold. We need to find that kitty.
I'll go and get it, man.
All right, you get him, we'll go on.
Which we do by whispering its name. We enter a large room full of running water and hanging chains, which essentially function like wind chimes. Even the actor can't resist this spa-like environment. And lucky for those of us still asleep, the alien, in spite of the fact that it's grown to an enormous size, it is a very stealthy hunter. The crew calmly discusses how to get rid of the giant murderous monster hiding in the shadows. Basically a real-life boogeyman.
It was big.
Their plan is to catch and release it. Release it in space, but still.
Drive it into the airlock and zap it into outer space.
Dallas goes looking for the alien, but can't find it because there's no cameras on the spaceship. Just a very dated Atari surveillance system. There's a bit of a 1-second jump scare, but more than likely your eyes are closed, so it's just the sound that might disturb you. Chances are, though, that you've been asleep for a while now. So even though they're talking about how to hunt and kill an alien, you'll really have no idea the who's who, who's alive or dead, what the alien looks like, or what's going on at all. So it'll be very easy to go right back to sleep. And I just realized this would be a great time to put on my new hoodie. Man, I wish I would have remembered I had this. I would have worn it the whole time. That would have been a good idea. This is an alien hoodie from Alien Clothing. I bought this from the channel Elvis the Alien, who was a big influence on this channel. Even my name, Elvis the Alien, happytheknife. I probably would have never started this channel if I hadn't found his, so shout out to him. And I got one of your hoodies to try to support your channel. So thank you. I love it. Let's continue making fun of the movie Alien, though. I mean, recommending it as one of the greatest horror films ever to fall asleep to. So Ash traps Sigourney Weaver and won't let her out. I don't know why they can't do this with the rest of the crew. Seclude and secure just themselves from the alien instead of trying to hunt it down. There's a bit of a kerfuffle between Ash and Sigourney Dreamweaver, and he's going to kill her, but not in a way that anyone has ever been killed before, which is strange because in a couple of minutes we're going to find out he's a robot. So either the programmer was weird as fuck, or they didn't program how to kill a person at all, which was probably a good idea. And he kind of gets his ass kicked, to be honest. Now, the fight between the crew and Ash may disturb your sleep a little, but we are immediately treated to some warm milk and gentle questioning.
What was your special order? How do we kill it, Ash?
So now we're about 90 minutes in, and there are some banging noises, but they're intercut with looking for the cat.
How you doing?
Fine.
So even though we're experiencing some rising action, we're still trying to keep our priorities straight, which is the cat and the sleeping audience. Now I do have to knock a few points off here because there's only about 20 minutes left. And for some reason, when the alien shows up, they decide to push the volume levels a little bit. So the movie has gone off the rails. It's time to just give up on the whole thing. Dreamweaver knows this, which is why she hits the self-destruct on the ship. The movie's getting too loud. End it before you wake up anybody else. The voice that narrates the self-destruction of the ship is a nice lady.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
So it's really up to you if you want to go back to sleep or watch the end of the movie. which isn't always bad after a little nap. Alarms are going off, but they're kind of far away and have a subdued repetition to them. Dreamweaver puts the cat to bed and also starts to get ready for bed. And this is a peak sleepy time scene. Unfortunately, the alien is there and halts the whole thing. But even the alien appears to be fairly sleepy. Dreamweaver puts on a sleeping bag suit, some kind of climate-controlled ASMR helmet. She sings the alien a lullaby. And hits it with some nice, cool sleeping gas before casting it into the wonderful, everlasting darkness. And it's an alien, so that's probably where it sleeps. So in my mind, she's still just putting it to bed. It gets caught for a minute, but she's able to blast it into peaceful solitude with the low rumble of the engines. She has a short, quiet monologue, essentially saying goodnight, while she pets her cat. Then she goes to sleep, and we are treated with 2.5 minutes of angelic orchestral music and a view of the stars. It is simply paradise. Give this movie a 9 out of 10 on the sleep scale, only receiving minor deductions for the occasional disturbance or moment of voice raising. If you're going to go to sleep to a horror movie this October, I highly recommend Alien. Sweet dreams and happy Helldünkel.
This is Ripley, signing off.
And now, a horror film that you won't want to sleep to. Part 2 of Skeleton Crew Productions' Thingamajig. Thank you, Skeleton Crew Productions, for allowing us to show Thingamajig in 5 parts. If you don't want to wait to see part 3, you can go over to their YouTube channel now, Skeleton Crew Productions, and watch Thingamajig in its entirety. You can also check out their other horror film, Straw Man. I'd also like to thank Pete from iReadBooks, a severely underrated channel. Go subscribe and watch all of the Sunday poems. Thank you, Jack from Jack Knives Reviews. Go check out his channel and check out his Flesh and Soul series that he's doing for October. And thank you, Our Time, from Mostly Odd Oddities, who's been helping put this whole thing together. Remember to go check out Mostly Odd Oddities on Instagram. Remember to cast your vote for the horror cosplay contest in the comments. And if you voted last week, please vote again. Thank you again to Shido on TikTok and Instagram at Shido. Thank you, Luxury Tears at lux.tears on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you, Fly Tie at horrorcosplay_flytie. You can find him on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you, Jackson, on TikTok and Instagram at that1Carmela. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week. Say goodbye, Jen. Jen does intro, calls me a salty slice of white toast.